welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to do a combined wrap-up of September and my TBR for October. This month I did a lot of wrapping up because we had Diversathon and Ribsat, so I read a combined 7 books for those 2 readathons that I already wrapped up. I'm not going to talk about them here. I'm just going to talk about the books that I read in between those 2 readathons. September has been a challenging reading month for me. I'm very slumpy and I don't feel like my books are very much going anywhere. I'm not very happy. So I did end up reading a few more lighter filler books because I start getting like almost bilious in my reading after a while. If I don't complete any books, I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere. I get very upset. I did read Dubliners by James Joyce earlier in the month. This is a collection of classic short stories. I'm not a big fan of short stories. I did read this for my Classics Challenge, Back to the Classics 2016. Pardon the noise in the background. This is what happens when you film on the weekend. Overall, this was my favorite collections of short stories that I've ever read. Not saying much because I gave it 3 stars. So, go with that. It started rough for me because I didn't understand what was going on. The stories just kept dropping and stopping off right when things were getting good. And then I read the back of the book, and it says that this marks an epiphany for the characters, and then I kind of got what was going on and understood, and from then on I enjoyed the stories a lot more, although some were big misses. There were some that had very long political conversations or just a lot of chatter going on that I didn't enjoy following. So like I said, 3 stars. I also read The Time-Traveling Fashionista on Board the Titanic by Bianca Turetsky. I really thought I was going to love this book because I kind of like watching these movies and there's fashion plates in it and, you know, beautiful pictures. I don't know, the lighting isn't very good, and I was incredibly disappointed with this book. I had no idea that the protagonist in this book is 12 years old. So this book just did not make sense to me. I have a 12-year-old. She's currently playing Minecraft on her iPad. I can't even imagine these things happening. This 12-year-old girl is said to be undeveloped, young, very young looking, and her parents let her go off alone to like a fashion trunk show. She puts on a dress and suddenly she becomes a 17-year-old actress on the Titanic. It just, I mean, I'm good at suspending reality, but this did not work for me. And I have 2 of the other books by her, so hopefully the young lady grows up a little bit more and it becomes a bit more believable because I was kind of disappointed and I gave this 2 stars. I also read and brought back to the library The Reader, and I believe it's by Tracy Chee. This is a new release young adult book. I enjoyed this book a lot. It was very slow to start, and there were lots of characters and lots of storyline, and it really didn't come together until the last 5 pages of what everything goes on. It's like, oh, now I get it. But I liked it, and I believe I gave it either 3 or 4 stars. And I will continue reading because there's a lot that's going to go on later on. This really was just a setup for what is going to go on later, so I'm looking forward to that. I also read Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. I have never read a book by this author, and I thoroughly enjoyed this. I do not know what to term this book. It's kind of a science fiction love story, but there's all kinds of weird physics and string theory and all of that sort of thing going on here. And really, to tell you any more about it would be to completely spoil it. It was excellent. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It read very quickly because you couldn't put it down, and I gave it 4 stars. And the last thing that I read was an e-arc from NetGalley, so thank you to them. I did write a review for this book on my blog. It was Follow Me by Tiffany Snow. The release date is October 4th of this month, and it is the first in a series called the Corrupted Heart series. So this is a romantic suspense book, and it follows China Mac, who is a nerd and computer programmer, and is very almost OCD, but straight-laced and very list-driven human being. She gets assigned to a top-secret government project to be building a computer program, and she starts being followed, and weird things start happening, and we go from there. The things I did not like. The love triangle. I normally, don't care. It's fine. This one I didn't really get, because this is a woman who's never had any male interest in her life, and suddenly her hot boss loves her, and her next door neighbor is flirting with her, and it's all just very, very weird. The computer talk that they had in this book I didn't understand. Seemed like it was almost glossed over in favor of the romance stuff, and I kind of wanted it to be a little meatier. The things that I really loved about this book is that I did not guess what was happening at all. The last pages were a complete surprise to me. It was a lot of fun. I may continue reading this if I keep up with it, and I gave it 3 stars. So it was good. On to my TBR for October. I am in the middle of some books still from last month's Diversathon. In particular, I'm on part 3 of On Beauty by Zadie Smith, and I am still having a very difficult time with this book, but yeah, I still want to read it and still need to know what's going on. But it is a very slow read for me, and I'm a fast reader, and this is just going very slowly. So I have that to finish. I am also a few chapters into Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This is for my classics challenge, and also I believe one of my online Goodreads book clubs is also reading it this month. I have 3 library books out that I need to get to. Newer releases here, The Forgetting by Sharon Cameron. I loved Rook. Of course, I'm Scarlet Pimpernel like trash, so I loved Rook. So I'm looking forward to seeing what I think of something that's a little different. And I have Truly Madly Guilty by Leanne Moriarty to read. I loved Big Little Lies. That's the only other one I've read by her. So I have that out. And I have Razor Girl by Carl Hyacin. I love his books. They tend to get me out of reading slumps, so I might get to this very soon. This is also, there's a lot month-long readathons going on, Own Voices, and there's also Victorian October, and as a result, I am going to try to pick up a few Victorian books this month if I can. I am The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. This is a book that's also for my classics challenge, and I haven't read any Wilkie Collins, so this is like a perfect time to do that. And I am also Great Expectations. I haven't read any of it, really, nothing this month. I'm on page 8. That's just depressing. So I have those 2, and they're both for my classics challenge, and I'm like getting so far behind. It's not even funny. So I'd really like to get to those. And I also have some other challenges going on in Goodreads that there's random books that I need to pick up. And one of them that I'd like to try to get to this month is Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard, the second book in the Red Queen. I think it's going to be a quartet. I read the first book when it came out and really enjoyed it. And I've had this book since it came out in January, and I still have not read it. But I am series failing this year, so par for the course. But this is for my Listopia challenge, so I do need to read this. And that's all I am kind of committing to for October. I also have these books up here that I'd like to read at some point. That's my, like, I'd like to kind of read these books shelf over here. That's my daughter's school shelf, and the stuff in the middle are just some pretty classics. So you can kind of always look over my shoulder and see what my new wishes are. So I hope everyone has a lovely reading month this month, and I am looking forward to seeing all of your wrap-ups, and I will talk to you later.